Hello, I am Dr. Yogita Lonare, Assistant Professor, Durga Mahavidyalaya, Raipur. Today I am going to deal with the topic Mark Twain's The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. So, first of all, let me introduce Mark Twain to you first. Samuel Clemens is known by his pen name Mark Twain, was born on 30th of November 1835 in Florida, United States and died on 21st of April 1910. William Faulkner called him the father of American literature. Mark Twain's major novels are first, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and its sequel, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, which was considered as a great American novel. Mark Twain spent his childhood in Hannibal, a small town on the Mississippi River. The negative quality about that town was the large amount of violence that occurred there. As a child, Mark Twain witnessed many deaths. At the age of 10, he witnessed slaves died after being struck by their masters. Therefore, this little town was proved as an inspiration for Mark Twain. At the age of 34, he became the most popular writer in America. His later life was filled with rage and depression due to the harshness of war and life of the frontiers. In his works, the themes like that of survival and violence were used to show the harsh side of reality. Now we come to the novel. The novel was published on 10th of December 1884 in United Kingdom and in 1885 in the United States. The book is noted for the colorful description of people and places on the Mississippi River. The present novel is an often painful satire on entrenched attitude, particularly racism. It is a story of a boy and a runaway slave floating down the Mississippi River. It is an insurgent confrontation of slavery and racism. It remained the most loved and banned work in American history. The book took 7 years to write. About slavery, Mark Twain says his uncle owned 20 slaves and they were to sell out in the southern slave market. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Paradise, Adventures novels, politics, religion, and even Shakespeare's Hamlet's soliloquy. All modern literature comes from this novel. That's why this novel is very important. Now, we are going to discuss the story of The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Then we will discuss the theme of the novel. The novel opens with Huckleberry and his experiences in Tom Sawyer. Its setting is Mississippi River and is narrated in first person. It is a satire. The two major characters, Tom and Huck, are friends. Pap is Huck's father, who is a drunkard. Huck loves with Widow Douglas and Miss Watson lives with Douglas, who is not a kind-hearted woman. One day, Huck runs away from Douglas, but Tom wants him to be civilized if he desires to join his gang. But Pat takes him and confines him and beats him savagely as he does not want him to become civilized. Once Huck gets a chance to escape. For that, he kills a pig and spreads blood on the floor. Huck escapes and meets Jim, who lived with Miss Watson, who wanted to sell him as blacks were tortured and sold out. So Jim runs away. Both live on Jackson Island. These two notice there a raft and a house with a dead body in it. They steal some food from that house and leave that place. In the meanwhile, Jim is charged with the murder of Huck. Huck in disguise enters the town. There, two hunters are in search of killer of Huck. So both leave the island. Some people are looking for Jim there. Huck tells a lie that he has a smallpox. These two hand over some money and leave the place. They are saved but are separated in collision but meet again. They meet two tramps. They give shelter to them, in fact, but they take away their raft. So, Jim and Huck decide to take revenge from Huck and Jim. So, these two decide to take revenge from Huck and Jim. So, they sell Jim to a local farmer. Huck reaches there and meets a woman, Aunt Sally. She is Tom's relative. Tom promises to save Jim. Tom has a plan, but risky. He asks Jim to run, but tramps shoot to Jim. He does not run away. Consequently, Jim is caught. Jim informs Huck that Jim is confined in Watson's custody. After her death, property will be handed over to Jim. She dies 2 months ago. Pap is also no more. Eventually, Huck decides to go to the west to continue his adventure, and Jim is scared that Douglas will confine him to make him civilized. So this is the story of the adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Now we are going to discuss the theme of the adventures of Huckleberry Finn. The primary theme of the novel is the conflict between civilization and natural life. Huck presents natural life through his freedom of spirit, uncivilized ways, and desire to escape from civilization. He was raised without any rules or discipline and has a strong resistance to anything that might civilize him. The conflict is introduced in the first chapter through the effort of widow Douglas. She tries to force Huck to wear new clothes, give up smoking, and learn the Bible. Throughout the novel, Twain seems to suggest that the uncivilized way of life is more desirable and morally superior. Drawing on the ideas of Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Twain suggests that civilization corrupts rather than improves human beings. The theme of honor permeates the novel, where Tom Sawyer expresses his belief that there is a great deal of honor associated with thieving. Robbery appears throughout the novel, especially when Huck and Jim encounter robbers on the shipwrecked boat and are forced to put up with the king and Dauphin, both of whom rob everywhere they meet. They resolve to steal Jim, freeing him from the band of slavery, which is an honorable act. Thus, the concept of honor and acting to earn become the central theme in Huck's adventures. Food plays a prominent role in the novel. In Huck's childhood, he often fought pigs for food, thus, providing Huck with food becomes a symbol. Twain focuses on quite heavily is the mockery of religion. Twain was known for his attacks on organized religion. Huck Finn's sarcastic character perfectly situated him to deride religion. In the first chapter, Huck indicates that hell sounds more fun than heaven. King Lear and cheat convinces a religious community to give him money so he can change his pirate friends. The religious belief through people is easily led astray, which mocks their beliefs and devotion to God. Superstition appears throughout the novel. Generally, Huck and Jim are very rational characters, yet, when they encounter anything slightly superstitious, irrationally taking over superstition foreshadows the plot at the several key junctions. Slavery is the well known aspect of this novel. Mark Twain uses Jim as a main character and a slave to demonstrate the humanity of slaves. Jim expresses the complicated human emotions and struggles with the path of his life to prevent being sold and forced to separate from his family. Jim runs away from his owner. Miss Watson works towards obtaining freedom so he can buy his family's freedom. All along their journey, Jim cares for and protects Huck, not as a servant but as a friend. Although Mark Twain attacks slavery through the portrayal of Jim, he never directly addresses the issue. The concept of wealth is threaded throughout the novel and highlights the disparity between the rich and poor. Mark Twain purposely begins the novel by pointing out that Huck has over $6,000 to his name. Huck demonstrates a relaxed attitude towards wealth, and because he has so much of it, does not view money as a necessity but rather a luxury. Huck's views regarding wealth clearly contrasts with Jim's. For Jim, money is equivalent to freedom. In addition, wealth would allow him to raise his status in society. Thus, Jim is on a constant quest for wealth, whereas remains apathetic. The majority of the plot takes place on the river on its banks. For Jim and Huck, the river represents freedom. On the raft, they are completely independent and determine their own courses of action. Originally, the river is a safe place for the two travelers, but it becomes increasingly dangerous as the realities of their runaway lives set in on Huck and Jim. The river soon becomes only a short term escape, and the novel concludes on the safety of dry land, where ironically Huck and Jim find their true freedom. In this way, the novel ends here. This is the theme of the novel. Thank you so much.